Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Delano Sports Podcast. My name is Gabriel Ulloa, the host, and we are here at the lovely Mountain Mike's Pizza here today with Gabriel Ulloa. Gabe, how are you feeling today?
Feeling great. What about yourself?
That sounds pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. So, for those of you that don't know who Gabriel Ulloa is, he is a 2018 proud alumni of Delano High School, the athlete of the year that year, a multi-sport athlete for multiple years throughout high school, and he's played baseball at the next level at both Bakersfield College and Cal State Bakersfield. And we'll start off by saying, Gabe, you've played multiple sports all throughout your life. What was special about baseball growing up?
Baseball was I just felt this connection, and I've just always been really good at it, I guess, in a way. Better than a lot of people. And since I was better, it was fun. But my first love was like basketball. Honestly, I really loved basketball. I thought it was the funnest sport, but I just was never tall enough. So baseball was honestly the way to go. Yeah.
Good. So, of course, playing multiple sports growing up, you played football, basketball, baseball. Out of those, do you think that playing multiple sports growing up helped you in other sports? Or do you think that you just kind of differentiated? What do you think about playing multiple sports growing up?
I think all kids should play multiple sports growing up. It helps with athleticism in many ways. Football helps with strength. Basketball just helps with your footwork, being athletic, and it all translates to another sport. So baseball translates to football, football translates to basketball, then basketball translates to baseball in one way or another. It can't hurt you in no way unless you get hurt, but you're having better outcome. You're having better reward than risk playing all these sports. Yeah.
So, of course, growing up, you were definitely standing at baseball. At what point, you played travel ball, you played at different things outside of Delano. At what point did you realize that you wanted to really expand on playing in baseball, not just in Delano, but you had the itch to play it at larger levels?
I think my itch started around 8th grade. 8th grade, my parents took me I got asked to go play on a travel team in Bakersfield. And ever since then I realized, wow, this is really fun, there's a whole nother world out here instead of just playing in Delano, which I did play for a travel ball team in Delano, and it was fun. We played against great competition, and it was full of a great group of kids, great coaches. But when my parents ended up taking me to Bakersfield, I just realized a whole lot more, a whole different side to baseball.
Yeah. And so, of course, having played travel ball a little bit growing up, playing on the travel team here in Delano, when you got into high school, of course, you played varsity as a freshman coming into that team. How was that experience playing at such a high level so young?
It was tough. It was tough. It made me realize a whole lot of things. Freshman year, I think I pitched one time, and it was against Mount Whitney, which was a really good school at the time. They had 2 UCLA commits and all that. And I was just up there probably throwing 78, which is a straight meatball. And I don't think I got out of the inning, and they scored 10 runs off me. And, after that time, I was just questioning, am I really good at baseball or whatever? But, it was tough sometimes. But then you have the good days, and you're just shake it off, But you only remember the bad times, I could say, for the most part. But it was fun, and I realized that maybe baseball is a route for me to go, just because I was playing really well at the time.
So, of course, in high school, not only did you play baseball and were a standout, but you played all 3 sports year-round. How was that grind of playing sports year-round? Was that just kind of second nature to you? Was that something that you really had to focus in on and doing that and also maintaining grades? What was the grind like of being a 3-sport athlete all 4 years?
It was fun, honestly. You never had time to really rest, I would say. You were just waiting for the next thing to happen, and that's what I looked forward to. I'm not going to lie, during football season, I would drag. That was probably the worst time because you're outside, it's hot, you have pads on. But, when Friday night came, it was super fun to play, actually. And then when football season was coming to end, you would only look forward to wow, I just need to go back to basketball practice the next day after, which is super fun. Then basketball season would come in, and you'd be going to baseball, and then baseball season, then you'd be playing football in the summer again. So it was just so much fun and just staying on your toes the whole time. trying, just not doing the same thing every day,
So of course, coming into your sophomore year of baseball and definitely your junior year, you started to be able to play with some of the guys that were your age. Of course, that famous core of you, of course, Daniel Murillo, Angel Hasso, Jesse Perigo, that big core of group of guys. What was it like? You played freshman year on a team much older than you, and you had a lot of pressure that you put on yourself in terms to play against older guys. But then you moved forward, and then your guys that are your age that you played with all your life got to come with you. What was it like playing with them now at the varsity level?
It was a blast, man. I can't, sophomore year went through some things, but it was so much fun. Just being able to share the high school baseball field with them, it was everything that we kind of dreamed them as kids. Since Little League, we would talk about it a lot, Daniel Murillo, Jesse Perigo, Angel Hasso, even Nate Cardenas, all those guys, man. It was just super fun to share the field with them in high school for 3 years, and if I go back and play with them, that was a really good group to play with.
Yeah. So of course, you mentioned that when you were a freshman pitching, and that you would just come in, that you were still trying to do your best. However, maybe your pitching speed wasn't there. At what point, or when did you start focusing in on pitching? Was it always you knew that you wanted to go as pitching, or was it just kind of like that was just part of your game at that point? At what point did you start focusing on pitching and trying to become the best pitcher that you could be?
It wasn't until I got to college. When I went to BC, I wanted to be a two-way player, and they would let me at first during the summer. I would play shortstop and pitch, practice both positions, and then our shortstop was just really good. He happened to be going to Kansas State after that year, and that just booted me to the side, and our coach just said, you're just going to be a pitcher. So ever since that, I just really focused on pitching and things.
Yeah, I understand that. So, of course, playing throughout high school, you were a really good standout there at Delano High School, but at what point did you realize that you wanted to play this at the next level?
Since freshman year, actually. I remember going into freshman year, my dad sat down with me and had a real important talk, and because he noticed that I was slacking off a little bit, having too much fun, and I was messing up a lot, not with school or anything, but just I wasn't as good as he thought I should be at that point. Yeah. And he sat down and he said, look, this is either going to be your life for a while, or you're just going to have fun, mess up, and not be that good and not play. So since that time, it really woke me up. It was like, wow, I do want to go play college baseball.
Great. So, of course, one of the biggest things, of course, when you came out of Delano High School was that you had the birth of your daughter very soon after high school. Of course, how did that affect you in terms of what your future plans were? Of course, you wanted to go play baseball at the next level, but having a daughter, how did that affect your future plans? How supportive were your parents of it when it happened? What were your initial thoughts when you had your daughter, of course?
Very scary thoughts. I just thought I would have to stop playing baseball, go get a job, live the normal life at a very young age, and I was just scared for it. But, my parents, all my family actually, just had my back, and they said, no, we got you. Everything's going to be okay. You're going to be a great father. They really talked me into staying to play baseball and just being the best dad that I could be while playing baseball. I can't thank them enough for all the support they've given me during the times I have played, been gone playing, and really encouraging me to keep going down the road.
That sounds great. So, of course, you mentioned a little bit earlier about your time playing at Bakersfield College. However, you tried to become in as a two-way player. But in terms of playing baseball at the collegiate level, I'm assuming it's much more different than playing at the lower levels or even in high school. How was that big, or how big of a difference was it when you played at Bakersfield College compared to high school and even travel ball growing up?
It's huge, man. It's huge. Everybody's bigger, everybody's faster, everybody's stronger. Everybody works harder. I don't care who you are, how hard you work in high school. You get there and you see there's guys that work just as hard as you and some way harder. So it's an eye-opener to think wow, these guys are really that good because look at all the work they put in. And that opened my eyes and forced me to work harder as well. And you're there the whole time. It's not like high school. You're just there practicing 2 hours and you go home. You're there the whole day, every day. And it's a grind. it's definitely a grind.
Yeah, sounds good. And of course, when you first came into college, that's first few years, you were affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. What effect did that have on you as a player and then your team as a whole?
So that was my second year of college. The COVID pandemic. It was kind of crazy. So my first game that year, 2020, like nobody knew about COVID yet. It hadn't even hit yet. I blew out my arm. I had Tommy John. So I didn't really play that season because that happened. I had that surgery, but I know it affected a lot of kids in ways to where they had to come back another year, even though that they were older, and it was much harder to like get exposure for them. So like 2021, like there were still restrictions for COVID. Like nobody could go to the games, nobody could go watch. So it was really hard for kids to get exposure, and no scouts were allowed at the games. So it basically all relied on your head coach getting you out to places or schools calling about you, and that hurt a lot of people. Yeah,
I understand that. But of course, no one likes injuries, and that's kind of one of the worst things that can happen in baseball. But you having your arm injury during the COVID season, was that kind of a stroke of luck? How was that? What are your thoughts of that happening that specific season, where the season got canceled after that?
Yeah.
And then how was the recovery process from that and from your injury, and how did you go about rehabbing that?
So during that season, I found out season was getting canceled, and I was like, oh, well, like maybe like this was the perfect time that it happened, Like I was like, wow, this is crazy. But it was still kind of, you get hurt and you're just not the same person, or like you're just kind of sad, little sadness hits you. But I didn't like really bother. I just took the opportunity to sit back and work harder. I just worked out in my garage every day, try to get myself better in every way that I could. The recovery process was very well for me. For me personally, I know for some people it doesn't go as well or as planned, but for me, like it was just awesome. Like I think like my arm feels great now compared to what it did, and I'm thankful that it happened the way it did, I guess I could say.
Yeah, of course. So playing at Bakersfield College, of course, you came in, or you switched from trying to be a two-way player to a PO. At what point did you realize that, of course, the goal of playing at a JUCO is to get noticed and try to get play at an even higher level at that point, but when did you start easing in and start feeling like, okay, now I think I'm ready to play at an even higher level, or you realize that you're like, okay, I'm doing good at the JUCO level now, I kind of proved to myself that you can do this and play at a better level? At what point did you start feeling comfortable in that role there at BC?
So my freshman year, I got transferred to PO, pitcher only, and I realized that like there's a lot of kids there, a lot of good kids, but to myself I realized like, wow, I'm really one of the better ones here. I could actually do this. And then another thing too, if you're a pitcher, you're always chasing that goal to hit 90 miles an hour just one time, and once you hit that 90, like you feel unstoppable. So I remember my freshman year I hit 90 for the first time, and I was just like so happy. So I just kept working harder to get better, and like it just became a habit. But yeah, just looking around and realizing that I actually have a chance to go play at the next level just because I was a little bit better than a little bit people there.
Yeah, I understand that. And so, of course, people would assume that the transition from BC to CSUB would be pretty standard. However, it's not something that happens for everyone at BC, of course, because that is a Division I program, no matter if it's in Bakersfield or not. Mm-hmm. What was that transition like for you to go from BC to CSUB? Were those scouts just already there in the room with you guys, there watching you, knowing about you coming up? Or was it more that your coach helped them out or kind of tipped them off and said, hey, I got this pitcher coming in? What was it like going from BC to CSUB in that transition?
So like I said, that COVID year happened. So then 2021 season, when I did play after injury, no scouts were allowed. So like it was all up to your head coach, and our head coach would make phone calls for kids, and it worked that way, like for people to get out. I remember my coach just asked me like, I got schools for you. Do you want to go out of state? Are you willing to go out of state because your daughter? I just told him, like, Coach, honestly, just get me into Bakersfield. Like, that's it. Like, that's all I want to do, go to. It's Division I. It's near home. What more could I ask for? So then I did get to CSUB, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I was thankful for the opportunity that they gave me to play there. I walked on, and I showed them, once again that, like, I showed them that I'm one of the hardest workers in the room. I proved myself to be a better reliever there, and I ended up earning a walk-on scholarship, which was awesome. And then it was different in a way from Bakersfield College because there's restrictions for NCAA D1. So JUCO, there's no restrictions. You're out there every day as long as the coaches want you to be. You're just out there working, practicing, whatever. NCAA, they have stricter rules where you have a certain time limit to practice, get your athletes recovery. You have a certain time that you spend in the weight room with your weight room coaches and all that. And it was a lot more chill and not working you into the ground, like like JUCO would, because JUCO is a grind, and that, like, in all honesty, like, that's probably the hardest place that you're gonna go to is go play at a JUCO to grind. But D1's a little bit more laid back, and kids there are already good. So because they're at Division I, it's not really like developing too much. For some kids it is, but for most part, there's already good kids there, and you're there practicing your craft.
Yeah. So, of course, at BC, you guys played other JUCOs and everything like that. You mentioned that it is a more chill environment, definitely playing in a D1 environment because there's less restrictions and like that. But was there added pressure in terms of games? Because now you're playing teams that are a lot better with a lot better players. So is that added pressure whenever you would make an appearance to pitch? Was that kind of like, oh, damn, like I'm only going to get a limited amount of practice, a limited amount of time to prepare for this, and now it's time to play against better competition?
In the term of preparation, no, not really, because you could prepare as long as you want. Like, if you want to go get extra work, you could, but coaches being with you at a certain amount. But I was, like, always out there, no matter what. But the competition you faced was a whole lot better. These kids are just naturally gifted kids, way bigger, way stronger, way faster. And I can't lie, my first season, every time I took the mound, I was pretty nervous. Just because lack of experience, and you hear about D1 kids and you're just like, wow, it's true, they're amazing. Like, they're naturally gifted kids. They could hit a ball as far as they want, they could run as fast as they want, they could throw as hard as they want. So it was nerve-wracking a little bit, but I would say my second year settled down a lot, just had that experience. I wasn't trying to do too much, like overpower anybody, and I just settled in and just pitched the way that I was taught, and that's it.
Sounds pretty great. So, of course, as all this is going on, you're not just a baseball player, you're also going to school, but then you're also raising your daughter. Mm-hmm. And so how was that going and having to dedicate a lot of time to training for baseball, but then also being a parent? Were you getting a lot of help? Was it just kind of stressful in terms of, like, you wanted to go home, check on her, and do things like that? How was that like, raising your daughter while also dedicating a lot of time to getting better at this sport?
It was very stressful. I had tons of help, plenty of help. My parents would tell me, no, just stay in Bakersfield tonight, like, go out there. But I would still come home, whenever I could. I would come home, see my daughter straight after practice. And it was hard to find the balance between home life, baseball, school, and then social life as well. But I would say I would come home almost 4 times a week, commute back and forth just to come home and see my daughter. Then I would stay up after she'd go to sleep. I'll stay up doing schoolwork, and then the next day I had to wake up around 5:30 for weights, and it was tough. It was tough. A lot less sleep than expected, but like I said, I like being busy and just being on my toes the whole time. It was fun.
Yeah, and of course, having a daughter does add a lot of pressure, but did it also serve as a sort of motivation to realize, like, now you're doing it for more than yourself?
Oh, yeah. my parents would always tell me, like, your daughter's going to be there at your games, just just relax and be who you want your daughter to know who you were when you were younger. So, I would just go out there, and she would be at my games, and I'll see her right there. CSB is not that big of a place, so you could see everybody. And I would see her, and it would just make me happy seeing her in the stands cheering for me. It was awesome. Yeah, that experience.
That's pretty good. So, of course, going in, you just graduated from CSUB, finished your final season. At what point in this last season when you were going through it did you realize, like, okay, I think I'm content with this being the extent of trying to play baseball at increasingly higher levels? At what point were you just kind of like, I think I'm okay now?
I think at the beginning of this last season. I knew it was my last season. And I just told myself, like, you experienced all this stuff, and, you're blessed. Not a lot of people get to do it where you're from. And, if it happens, it happens. If something better comes along the way, then it happens. But just be grateful for what you've done and, all the support you got and how you ended, which was fine. And, during the season, we went to a lot of nice places. We went to Stanford, Baylor, Long Beach, San Diego. All these fields were amazing. So I was like, wow, this is like, what a way. Oh, even Hawaii. So it was like, what a way to like end off your career, Like, it was just super fun.
So, of course, having been one of the few players from any Delano high school to go on to play at a JUCO level and even the Division I level, what is your advice to up-and-coming ball players in Delano? Of course, Delano itself seems to be increasing in terms of talent throughout the three schools. Of course, the Chavez, Delano, and Kennedy programs are all on the rise. What is your advice to these players that want to pursue baseball at the next level?
I could say just work hard, but everybody's going to tell you to just work hard. But I would say just find people that can help you in the right ways. Like, there's a lot of people around this town that know baseball. And, find them, seek them, find direction to where you need to go. And another thing, too, is do good in school, because school is going to help you a lot, and keep your head straight. That's it. Put your head in the ground and grind. If you think you're working hard and you're not seeing results, then you're not working hard enough. So work harder. And that's basically it, man. Hard work's a key to a lot of things.
All right, so big hat time. But so, Gabe, what were some of the best experiences you had playing in high school with that group of guys? Of course, they were all your friends, and you had played with them for so long. But what were some of your favorite memories with them as a team?
Just going on the bus with them was fun. Looking back at it, we'd do, like, the dumbest stuff on the bus, like prank call people, just yell. It was fun. But I strictly remember this one time. Well, this one tournament my senior year, we went to San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
And it was an awesome tournament, dude. Like, it was so fun. We were just out. Went to a beach together. It was so much of a team bonding where it was like, damn, you really realize that these guys are probably like your best friends. Coaches did a great job with organizing that. I'm glad the admin let us go out there. But it was such a fun time with all those guys.
And so one of the coolest things about, you said, when playing in JUCO and playing at the D1 level was the travel. What were some of your favorite places that you traveled to? What were some of the ones that stood out to you when you got to be there with your team?
So JUCO, you don't really go to like nice places. They're day trips, they're fields. But the bus rides are also fun in JUCO. You do the dumbest stuff there. The craziest stuff happens on those bus rides, and somebody's back there in the toilet, at the back of the bus, just blowing it up, and you lock them in there to smell their own stuff, That was fun. But once you get to, like, CSUB, it's a whole different thing, Like, it's actually traveling like a pro athlete, I would say. You leave on Thursdays, you practice at the opponent's field Thursday afternoon, go to sleep. Friday, you wake up, you don't play till nighttime most of the time. So you have the whole day to yourself, do whatever you need to do, get ready for the game. Then you stay there until Sunday because you play 3-game series until Sunday. Yeah. But it was awesome, man. Awesome to do that, just get out of Bakersfield or this Central Valley, It was cool seeing other places. But my favorite places had to be Stanford. Stanford was so nice. And you wonder why they're really good. It's just amazing, dude. Those kids are really, like, like they were just born with a baseball bat in their hand or a baseball in their hand. Yeah, they were awesome. Hawaii was cool. The culture over there is insane. Like everybody treats you with respect. Everybody just so laid back. Especially we stayed right there, like on the beach. It was awesome. And Hawaii has no professional sports teams that I know of, at least. So they're really just all bought into their D1 program. Dude, I kid you not. I think there's like 2,500 people there at the game. Yeah, so you're pitching right there. It's like all around you. You look to your left, right, and just like, holy smokes. That's probably the closest that you'll get to pitching a professional game at a D1 level. Well, at least playing a big field right there. It was so awesome. And then Baylor was cool. You know, never been to Texas before. Saw their football field. It was awesome. Their baseball field is just as nice. It's so crazy, like how they have all those facilities for their sports. Where else? I would say Long Beach. Long Beach is pretty nice as well. And I think those are my 3 favorite from this past season. Yeah, pretty nice places.
All right, sounds pretty good. All right, thank you, Gabe. Thank you for coming on.
No, thank you. It was a pleasure, you know, and I really like what you're doing for the community. This is awesome. Keep it up, and these kids look up to you a lot. It's so cool.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right, let me